Geo saves Drew, and Willow's darkest plan collapses. Oh, darlings, this first story is one that is going to have you sitting on the absolute edge of your seat, because we have reached the point in Willow's desperate spiral where she has moved past threatening and past planning and straight into doing. And the only thing standing between Drew and a fate he does not deserve is a young man who happened to be exactly where Willow never anticipated anyone would be. Let us lay out exactly what Willow constructed in her mind and then set into motion. The paralytic is essentially gone. The black box with the evidence she needed has not been found. Drew said her name out loud. Every wall she built around herself is crumbling simultaneously. And a woman who has already shot someone twice and kept him chemically imprisoned is not someone who runs out of options quietly. The plan she landed on had a terrible elegance to it. The Quartermain estate. The lake near the boathouse. A reason for being there that sounds completely innocent. Dropping the children with Michael, giving Drew a moment by the water he has always loved, a concerned wife providing comfort to a struggling husband. Clean on the surface, calculated underneath. She would will him to the edge. Step away. Let the chair slip in. Then scream for help. Genuine theater, knowing full well she believed nobody was close enough to respond in time. Not trained in water rescue. Not positioned to save him. Just positioned to look like she tried. Except Geo was there. Around a corner. At the mansion to see his mother and spend time with his little sister. And when he heard the cries, he did not pause to calculate whether Drew deserved saving. He did not think about Drew's history with the Quartermains or the complicated feelings that history created. He is a trained lifeguard. Someone is in the water. He went in. Drew is alive. Geo pulled him out. And Willow is standing on the bank of that lake watching her most carefully constructed plan dissolve in the most complete and humiliating way possible, undone by a young man who simply could not walk past someone in trouble. But here is what this moment actually means beyond the immediate rescue. Drew is alive and he is recovering. The truth is still coming. And Geo, who wanted nothing to do with any of this, is now a witness to something that raises questions even he cannot fully articulate yet. What was Willow doing there? Why was Drew so close to the water? Why did the chair roll toward the edge at all? Those questions are going to linger. And eventually they're going to point somewhere very specific. Jack kisses Nina, and a pairing nobody expected starts to make sense. Now, darlings, let us pivot to something that caught a lot of people off guard, but the more you think about it, the more it makes a certain kind of beautiful sense. Because Jack kissed Nina, right there. After a conversation that was the most honest either of them has had with another person in a very long time. And the sparks that have been circling these two for months finally found somewhere to land. Let us talk about what happened leading up to that moment. Nina opened up. Really opened up. In the way that she almost never allows herself to in front of someone she has not fully decided to trust. She talked about Madeline. About what it was like to grow up with a mother who was cold in ways that left marks that never fully healed. She talked about the vow she made to herself, that she would not be that she would be protective and present and willing to do anything for her children in the way nobody ever did for her. And then she said the thing that has been true for a long time, but that Nina has never quite said out loud so plainly. There is no line she would not cross for Willow. Not because obligation requires it. Because love, however complicated and however often it has been taken advantage of, requires it. Jack listened. And something shifted in him. He looked at this woman who has been accused of many things, of weakness, of poor judgment, of bowing to people who do not deserve it. And he saw something entirely different. He saw someone who knows exactly what she is doing and has chosen it anyway. Someone who carries love like a wound and gives it anyway. He apologized. He acknowledged that what he did when he blackmailed her was wrong, that forcing her to betray someone she cared about in exchange for information was not who he wanted to be in that moment. And then he said something that got a little tangled in the saying that what he should have done instead was ask her out. Get to know her before everything got so complicated. Nina was confused by the words. And Jack, not being a man who has ever been particularly gifted with verbal expression when feelings are involved, did what made more sense than explaining. He kissed her. And darlings, this pairing makes sense in ways that keep revealing themselves the longer you think about it. Two people who have both wanted things they could not have. Jack and Carly, Nina and Valentine, Nina and Sunny. All of those stories with their complicated endings. Two people who are both outsiders in Port Charles in their own particular ways. Who both know what it feels like to be the person who does not quite get the happy ending. Who both showed up for each other in moments that had nothing to do with strategy and everything to do with something more genuine. Portia and Jordan find unexpected common ground, and a new friendship changes everything. And now, darlings, we close this week with a storyline that is quietly one of the most emotionally satisfying things this summer has built, because two women who had every reason to stay enemies found themselves on the same side of something that mattered more than all their history. And what happened between them in that house the night Portia went into labor is not something either of them is going to forget. Let us be honest about the state of things between Portia and Jordan before that night. It was not good. The foundation of their tension, Curtis, the history, the competing versions of what each woman meant to him, that was already complicated enough. And then the lying about what happened with Isaiah made it actively hostile. Jordan knew Portia's statement was false. She begged her to come clean. Portia refused. And the standoff between them had consequences that were still playing out in Curtis's legal situation. Jordan went to the house that night with a specific purpose. She wanted to try one more time to reach Portia's conscience about the statement. She was not going there as a friend. She was going there as someone who understood that the truth mattered and that people were being hurt by its absence. Portia did not budge. The conversation ended coldly. Jordan left. And then she heard screaming. She came back. She did not have to. She had already done what she came to do and left. But the screaming pulled her back through that door. And what she found, Portia alone, in labor, the ambulance not there, called for everything Jordan had. She put down every grievance. She set aside every complicated feeling. She did what needed to be done. That baby is alive because Jordan came back. That mother got through one of the scariest moments of her life because someone she had been treating as an adversary chose her anyway. That kind of moment changes things. It has to. And Portia, holding her son, looking at the woman who helped bring him into the world, cannot look at Jordan the same way anymore. The defenses she has built, the reasons she has assembled for maintaining the distance between them, they cannot survive what happened in that house. What this means for Curtis's case is significant. Portia's false statement has been the weight around his neck in the legal battle with Isaiah. If gratitude and genuine connection and the experience of being chosen when she did not expect it finally moves Portia toward the truth, if she recants, the shape of everything changes. Curtis gets room to breathe. Isaiah's carefully constructed grievance loses a major piece of its foundation. Isaiah is not going to accept that quietly. He has invested in this situation. He has made claims and issued challenges and staked his personal narrative on a version of events that Portia's recanting would fundamentally undermine. His reaction to losing that ground is going to be something Port Charles feels. But two women who survived a terrifying night together, who brought a baby into the world in the most unexpected circumstances, have something between them now that no amount of Isaiah's fury can erase. Portia and Jordan, rivals turn something more complicated and more real. And that baby boy, healthy and here and loved, is the reason everything is going to look different going forward. Port Charles is doing what it does best this week, darlings. Geo-diving into cold water to pull out a man whose survival changes everything. Jack kissing Nina in a moment that was more honest than either of them planned. And Portia looking at Jordan across a room and finally, seeing someone she can trust. This is the show we love. This is the summer. It is giving us everything. And we are not missing a single moment of it.